helping relieve stress in regards to your wedding day because that is the priority. It is beautiful. It is a huge undertaking. And so we wanted to bring in someone very special to share some thoughts and to give some guidance. And so would you all please welcome Miss Lauren Dahl, the owner of Dreamco Weddings, incredible planner. Welcome, Lauren. We're so happy to have you tonight.
Hi, thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here. I appreciate you letting me be involved.
Yes, absolutely. And I want to do a little introduction just so you all, as you're getting a feel for Lauren and what she brings to the table tonight. Number one, we would not have asked her to come if we didn't think that she was going to take very good care of our couples. So, number one, we trust her already because just the person she is, but also her track record and experience is something that's very valuable. And I want to just read you some about her. So she's not forcing me to say this, but I want you to know these details. So with over 20 years of experience in the wedding and event industry, Lauren Dahl has dedicated her career to bringing couples' most meaningful moments to life. She's a master certified wedding planner with an MBA and is currently a doctoral candidate finishing her dissertation in business administration. Lauren's award-winning company, Dreamco Weddings and Events, has allowed her to build a national team that guides couples through the planning process with care and creativity. We love that about Lauren. Lauren's approach is rooted in her genuine desire to help people celebrate love, transforming what can often feel overwhelming into an enjoyable and stress-free experience. Hallelujah. Yes, please. Her unique combination of business acumen, professional certification, and decades of hands-on experience allow her team to deliver events that are not only beautiful and seamless, but also thoughtfully designed to reflect each couple's vision. So important. Whether it's an intimate gathering or a grand celebration, Lauren and Dreamco's commitment remains the same to ensure every couple feels supported, celebrated, and overjoyed on their wedding day. So good. And this is the person that you all get to hear from tonight. So you are in very good hands. And this is so exciting. And so I want to start off first, Lauren. I just read those great details about you, but I also want to ask you a couple questions again, just to help break the ice. So, number one, I would love to know a fun fact. Did you know about you? Something that people wouldn't know, maybe something you enjoy or some past experience. And then I would love to know what is your current favorite venue that you've been to and why.
Okay, so fun fact about me, well, there's two. I am a huge reader, but mostly I love fantasy. So like my Lord of the Rings peeps and anybody else who loves like fantasy romance, that is all I'm into. Also, I smoke meats. So my husband and I love to do barbecues, and he and I kind of like take turns smoking the meat. So that's a couple things about us. And let's see, favorite venue. That is so hard because I love so many. I really like Calamigos Ranch. It's just really beautiful. I feel like they offer a variety of packages and the staff top tier. So yeah, there you go.
I love it. I love it. So good. I feel like I'll put myself in the spotlight real quick because it's fair is fair. So, fun fact, I proposed to Val in Africa. Some people don't know that. She was doing like nonprofit work. She was interested in helping people. I was interested in her. So I chased her out there and proposed in the midst of her doing that work, which was fun. And oh my gosh, I think this year alone, I think we'll end up doing about 12 weddings at Montserrat in Fallbrook. So that's becoming a venue that almost feels like home just because we're there so often, which is great. So very beautiful winery, Italian style. Still to this day, I always say if I could own one venue, it's Estancia in La Jolla. I don't know why I just fell in love with that place. Um, it's like kind of boutique hotel in La Jolla. It's just a cool spot, but so many good venues. I mean, if I could have a side business, I probably still would choose my first place would be in the Palm Springs area because I just love being out in the desert. I love traveling out there and the culture and the style. So, anyway, all that to say, we got a very diverse, cool group. Yes, Brianna Boyles. Yes, Woohoo Palm Springs. I know. Shout out to you guys. So let's get into the real meat of tonight. And what I want to say is, as I'm asking Lauren questions, for right now, I want just use this time to listen. And I would suggest too, if you want to go into your view, go to speaker view just so that way, if there's any distractions, you can focus in on as Lauren is sharing specifically. And I'm going to ask questions. She's going to answer. If, as we're talking, something pops up that you're like, I don't want to forget this, throw it in the chat. We will cover it either as we go through the question or we'll catch it at the end. And then, as always, when we're done, it's going to be question and answer time. So Lauren and I are here. We'll stay on as long as you have questions. If you're like, I'm nervous about doing this in front of everybody, but I want to ask a question at the end, then just stay and we'll get you on and connect with you that way at the end. Okay. But as we go through, if something pops up where you're like, oh, she just said something, I want to dig deeper, shoot it into the chat and we'll make sure it gets covered either on the spot or a little later in this meeting. Okay. Make sense? All right. So let's get right into it. So, Lauren, first question I wanted to ask you for tonight. What are the top three stresses? We're here for stress-free planning, and I'd love for you to include in this your new accomplishment. I won't give it away, but your new accomplishment that we're so excited for, and the free resource comes from it. But wanted to just know, what are the top three stresses, the things that you've seen over and over again? I'm sure there's a bunch, but kind of the top three that pop up the most for couples in regards to their wedding day. Um, just to give peace of mind to those that are listening, where they're like, I feel that too. And then
Yeah.
maybe we can go into some ways to deal with that.
I would love to get your feedback too after I go through what I feel are the top three stresses. If you guys can go in the chat and just like affirm it, that would be great. Or like mention what your actual stresses are, because I would love it just for future reference. But yes, the surprise, should we save that till later?
Yes, you can save the surprise, but I want you to say what your accomplishment though. Let them know because that's a big deal, and I'm sure you got lots of resources from that too.
Yes, thank you so much. Okay, so yeah, after a year and a half, I finally published my first book, and it is all about stress-free wedding planning, believe it or not. So I will send you guys a link later. So if you want to check it out, it's actually free on Kindle Unlimited. So if you're a big reader like me, it's kind of cool because you just boop right into your little back office there. So, okay, three top stressors: budget, finding the right venue and vendors, and trying to make the wedding perfect. So if it's cool with you, I'd love to break it down. So, budget. Trying to have everything you want on a budget can feel so stressful and challenging because you want your day to be perfect, right? You want all the things that you want. The thing is, we all don't necessarily have an unlimited budget for our wedding. So, this is one of the things I help my couples do to kind of help them organize their budget a little bit better. So, on a piece of paper or in your iPhone or your Android, make a little list, three columns: your must haves, your wants, and the things you can live without. So if you start that list at the very beginning, when you go through the planning process, it's really going to help you organize the things that you want. And I always recommend that book the things you want first. So of course you have to get a venue. That's pretty much number one, right? But besides that, if photography is really important to you, or maybe florals and decor is really important to you, try to start with those things first, or at the very least get proposals for them so you know how much they're going to cost. Okay. So the second thing is finding the right venue and vendors. This is so tough because it's a lot of work. So you're looking at a vetting process, which can take weeks. Having vendors get back to you can take a long time too. And it's not because they want to ignore you, it's just because they're probably doing weddings and it's hard for them to do both. The other thing is just ensuring that you're doing your due diligence. So that means you have to find extra vendors than the one you might necessarily book so you can make sure, am I getting the best deal? Am I getting the services I want? Or is there someone out there who can give me both? So it can be really stressful. I recommend to simplify your wedding as much as possible. So just kind of go through the list of things that you might need after booking your venue. Like, let's say, for example, the venue is just a blank space. So you know you're going to need to get tables, chairs, linens, and dinnerware. So maybe it's a good idea when you're looking and vetting at vendors, try to find someone that has all those things for a good price versus having multiple vendors for each of those things. So that's what I'd recommend there. The other thing about finding the right venue is understanding that there are actually a right venue. There are multiple right venues. I've never met a couple that has said, this is the only venue I could ever get married at or I'll die. So like, I feel very connected to this venue and it vibes with what we want, but it's never life or death. And that's the thing about when you're booking a venue. Find something that you vibe with, that you enjoy, that makes you feel happy. But know if that particular venue doesn't work out, it's going to be okay. I promise you will find something else that will be equally as joyous for you on your special day. Now, thirdly, trying to make the wedding perfect. Okay, are you guys ready? for some real tough truth here. The wedding will not be perfect. Ah, I know. It hurts, doesn't it? It hurts. No, I'm just kidding. Your wedding will be amazing. It will be unforgettable. It will be lovely. You will remember a lot of it. You won't remember everything, I promise. That's always kind of funny, right? Right. Going through the wedding, but not remembering all of it. So, the thing you need to think about when you're planning your wedding, the goal is not to plan the perfect wedding. The goal is to plan a wedding that you can be happy with, that you and your partner are excited about, that's going to celebrate you, your love, and your family. So, those are the things that you really need to think about when trying to plan the perfect wedding. It's not always the case that there will be something that goes wrong on a wedding day, but if you can imagine, just like with any event, there's a lot of people, there are a lot of jobs, there are a lot of tasks, there are a lot of elements, and sometimes there's miscommunications. So it's just one of those things that it's another day and things happen. But as soon as you can come to terms with the fact that my wedding may not be perfect, but it's going to be amazing and unforgettable, then that's going to help you feel a lot less stressed.
That's so good. And can you, one thing, Laura put in here, I love this, Laura. One of the stresses she was talking about is creating a fun experience for the guests. So any advice and guidance you can give just on that topic, and then I've got another thought for you as well.
Yes, actually, this is a really quick one. Cocktail hour is pretty boring for people. So if you're going to do anything fun, do it then. The other thing I always recommend is couples doing a first look. You don't have to do romantic, so if you don't want to see each other, but at least schedule some photos before the wedding. So that way you can get them out of the way and actually enjoy your cocktail hour too. But yeah, I think creating a fun experience could be things like I don't know if you guys have ever done this, but some of my couples love like little parlor games like bingo or like trivia about them. So those are just some simple things that are very inexpensive. Some of our other couples with a little bit of bigger budgets, they will have live entertainment, and I think that's really fun.
I love that. I've seen a lot of like caricatures. There's some different things people do too during cocktail hour just to have like you're something fun to personalize. You know, you get a little cartoon picture of yourself. I love that. And along with this, what kept popping up in my mind as you were talking, Lauren, is this idea of really nailing down, and we're big on this too, your values as a couple. To sit and say, there's a lot of pressure of expectations. Like this is what a wedding is. I can go online and see I've got to have X, Y, Z. You know, it has to look this way. It has to feel this way for my guests. I got to check all the boxes. So there's outside pressure from the culture of what is defining weddings, but there's also pressure from like if there's family helping with the bill. There's a lot of couples that like they don't. It's even stressful to bring up, but they're like, how do I let someone know like thank you for helping us with this? But that doesn't buy you a ticket to decide how I'm going to do my wedding day. Like this is still my day. So really nailing down the values as a couple and saying what really matters to us. I know we could spend X amount of money on this area and this area. Which one is going to bring more joy to our life? Which one is more meaningful to us? Let those values help you decide. That way, it's not like, you know, you're cutting down on something that really matters to you to, you know, make somebody else happy. It's more of, you know, the things you've spent money on are very intentional, and you're like, I love what we did, and it's not we don't have everything, but the stuff that we chose, like you said, simple and very meaningful.
Absolutely.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, now we can hear you. Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, so just any guidance on values and then being able as a couple to be like, this is, you know, how to choose any other than like having the hard conversations. How have you seen couples that are kind of like, we've clarified our value and this has helped guide us on how we want to spend our money?
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, most of the couples I work with, I feel like them putting their values down on paper is one of the easiest parts of wedding planning. So at least when you start that process, you can know that that's going to be very simple compared to some of the other things that are going to pop up.
That's so good. So I guess if you haven't done it yet as a couple, we highly recommend get with your partner, even if you've already planned and spent a bunch of money on stuff that you like or hate. Get together and be like, can we just clarify, like, remind ourselves why we're doing this and what matters to us, and let that guide us moving forward. That way, you don't end up spending a bunch of money and feeling like No, I didn't even really like that, but at least we got it. Everyone told us we should have it, so I love that. Brianna, you asked just now, do you have a vendor recommendation for caricature artists? I love that idea. Any that come to mind off the top of your head, Lauren, and I can send you some, Brianna, as well.
Gosh, our vendor list is huge. So not off the top of my head, sorry.
Yeah, what we'll do is we'll send it to you. So I'll make sure between myself and Lauren that we make sure we take care of you with that. Okay. Thank you for bringing that up. That's huge.
Yeah,
Uh,
thanks, Brianna.
yeah. Um, so with that, we're talking about stress and simplifying things. Can you clarify one of the biggest things we were just talking about this before you all joined us? One of the biggest stresses for some couples is the clarity of knowing what's the difference between a full service, part service planner, day of coordinator, venue coordinator, DIY, or having your sibling plan for you. This past weekend, I had a couple on the day of their wedding. Things were not clear with their day of coordinator. They thought that person was going to be very involved and help guide them through the day. That person's perspective coming into it was, I'm turning on the lights and I'm out. So they had a lot of extra stress they weren't planning on that could have been clarified in advance. So can you walk us through, Lauren, these different roles, what they mean, so that we have a little more clarity on what might be the right fit for us?
Yes, of course. Venue coordinator is a little complicated. The other two are much easier. So let's go through venue coordinator first. The venue coordinator is going to be your point person at the venue who's going to help you with the contract negotiation and help you book the venue. Um, Sometimes that person will also be there on the wedding day to help run the show. Most of the time, though, I feel that the venue coordinator is more concerned with how the venue is operating so that the doors open on time, vendors are taking care of load in at the right location and at the right time, and they're thinking more about, like, let's say for example they offer catering at the venue. Do we have clean glasses? Is there enough? Are the tables set? I feel like venue coordinators are typically going to be concerned with those items. It's pretty rare these days that a venue comes with a coordinator who's going to handle actual day of coordination, who's going to create a timeline for you, who's going to be there to walk you through each step of the way. I don't really see that often. I mean, it does happen, but not as often as it used to. So it's just very important that when you sign a contract with your venue, you clarify with that manager or coordinator or banquet captain, whatever they're called, what their services are, what their role is going to be on your wedding day, and if their job is to support you or to support the venue. Very, very important to clarify that. The next thing to know is your day of coordinator. So that is going to be a service a company like mine would provide. We start services about 4 weeks out, and we're going to do things like look at all your finalized details. So we'll look at your contract so we know what services are being provided. We'll reach out to your vendors and confirm their services and arrival times, departure times, quantities of rentals. We'll also make sure that we're setting out your personal items, so like your card box, your guest book, your toasting flutes if you have them. Our job is to handle details and logistics on your wedding day, and most importantly, we are there for you as the couple. We're going to advocate for you. We're going to make sure your wedding day is running smoothly. We will handle hiccups. And what the best part is about having a day of coordinator is if she has all of the information beforehand, she can handle any sort of problems or hiccups that do happen. So that's really nice because you wouldn't even know about it otherwise. Now, your full service planner, she is most likely going to be your day of coordinator. There are some wedding planning companies out there that have a designated planner and a designated coordinator. So that's something to ask them, which we'll actually get to that a little later. But your full service planner is going to be there from start to finish, A through Z. She will help you either find a venue and or vendors. She's going to help you with design, bring your vision to life through rentals and logistics. And she's going to help make sure that you guys aren't missing any details throughout the planning process. So those are the three differences.
I love that. So, number one, for anybody listening, if you have not chosen someone and you're like, as Lauren's talking, I'm realizing I could use some help, you have Lauren and Dreamco in front of you at this moment. So, you have a great resource to be like, hey, I'd be interested in talking about some service options. So, take advantage of that, number one. Number two, for future listeners, for any couples that are here tonight, along with that, what would you say, Lauren, in your experience, what are some of the important questions to ask when they're trying to choose the right planning company, how involved that person is, what are some things I know you already covered some of it, but just reiterating in some big picture reasons, examples of what they should be thinking in their mind as they make that decision.
I love this question so much because I hear this all the time. Actually, when people are contacting me and they're doing their due diligence, speaking with me about Dreamco and other planners, I will for free send them a list of questions to ask other people. Because after 20 years in the wedding industry, I have a presentation that has all of the main questions and I answer it throughout the presentation, but not every other planner does that. So if you need a free list of questions, I can also add that to your little gift later. But okay, so what services do you provide and when will those services start? I think that's one of the most important things. If you're really excited about doing wedding planning, so you're concerned with maybe just getting someone there on the day, awesome. But do their services start 3 weeks out, 4 weeks out? I've even had some planners that I've worked with only start 1 week out. I probably wouldn't recommend that. I'd probably say at least 4 weeks. And then just make sure that you know exactly what they're going to do for you for your money. So that's just important. Um, do they have insurance and will they be able to provide a copy of the policy to your venue? There are still some wedding vendors today that don't carry a general liability insurance policy. It is so important to make sure that any person you book has that because if they don't, what will happen is the venue may not allow them on the premises and you may get stuck last minute trying to find someone or you're going to shove out another $150 for a temporary liability policy, which we don't want either of those things for you. So very important to ask that right away. Another question is how big is your company and do you have someone who can step in case you're sick on the wedding day? It's really nice to know that they have a plan B. So let me tell you a little difference about smaller wedding planning companies and bigger ones. Smaller wedding planning companies, which could be just one planner and an assistant, they're great because they sometimes have better prices. They're going to work very hard for you because they're building their reputation. However, keep in mind it may be difficult for them to find a replacement in case an emergency pops up. So bigger companies, on the other hand, have larger staff. They will definitely have someone available to be there in case someone gets sick. They usually have more experienced planners. So it's just there are pros and cons to working with both. So just make sure you're weighing them when you're doing your due diligence. There's two more questions I think would be really great to ask as well. Are you willing to customize a package for us? In the wedding planning industry, it's very common for planners just to have three packages. They have some sort of coordination package, partial and full planning. Well, what happens when you need services that fall in between those packages? Sometimes planners don't, they're not willing to work with you and they won't customize. Um, I'm personally someone who really likes to receive value for my money. So if I'm working with someone, I think customization, especially with wedding planning or coordination, because it's a very long process, I think that's a good idea to find someone willing to do that for you. So make sure you ask because it doesn't hurt. And the last thing is, do they specialize in weddings and are they certified? Now, California and the rest of the states, in fact, don't require certification. But through all my education, the certification process was one of the most valuable things I've ever done. It really helped me learn the quality of understanding the nuances of wedding planning and the wedding industry. So when you hire someone who's not certified, they're not going to know those things and they could miss details. The other thing is, do they specialize in weddings? An event coordinator who does corporate events, fundraisers, galas, their job is very different from a wedding coordinator or a wedding planner. And you don't want to hire someone who doesn't have experience in weddings because there are a lot of details that someone in the corporate event industry may not have experience with. So, yeah, those are my few questions.
I love it. So helpful. Along with that, just relieving stress and your experience. I'm thinking about you've worked with a lot of different couples and you've seen some of the things that with planning and weddings and events, specifically seating charts comes up so often. Like it just stresses couples out with RSVPs and everything. Any tips to simplify and why is it so complicated? My goodness, this seating chart challenge.
Yes, seating charts feel complicated because you're trying to fit people in a limited space with considerations about how they interact with other guests at your wedding. So that's why it feels stressful. The other reason it feels stressful is you're working with a lot of people. Usually weddings are on average 100, 150 guests. And when you're playing Monopoly with all of those people, it can get a little overwhelming. So there are a couple things I recommend with seating charts. First thing, if you don't do a plated dinner, you don't necessarily have to do a seating chart. You definitely don't have to do place cards. So maybe you want to pair certain guests at a table. Great. The seating chart is going to be a heck of a lot easier if you don't have a plated dinner. So that's something that I tell guests if or sorry, that I tell couples if they want to simplify the process, go for family style or buffet. It's still super fun and nice. The other thing is if you do want that more high-end wedding dinner experience, you're going to want some wedding planning software. That is the absolute best way to do a seating chart. My company uses Aisle Planner. Hi, Amber. I just showed that to you earlier today. Aisle Planner is really great because you can enter your guests into a list and literally drag and drop them into the tables. And I just find it so easy. So if you want to simplify the process, use a wedding planning software. There are softwares out there like Triple Seat and All Seated. They're specifically meant for seating charts. Whatever you choose, it's going to be a lot easier than trying to write it all out by hand and use sticky notes the old school way.
I had a couple recently I was talking to, and they did paper plates and did like clothespins with people's names on it, and they filled their entire floor and they took pictures of it. And I was like, hey, if you really want to DIY and get your hands dirty, but I'm pretty sure there's some online options that are not going to make it as messy in your house.
Yes. Oh, there's one more thing about seating charts that I wanted to mention that's really important. So, if you are doing a plated dinner, do not wait till 2 weeks or 3 weeks before the wedding to get your guest dinner selections. Make sure you do that when you send out invitations. That is going to make your life so much easier because when they RSVP, they'll fill out the dinner selection and you have everything you need well before the wedding. So important.
I love that. Pinterest. A lot of people use it in the wedding industry. A lot of people tell us, get involved and show your designs in Pinterest. A lot of couples use it. A lot of couples use things they see on TikTok and Instagram. How helpful are these things? Are they more helpful than harmful, or are they actually like cause more confusion to couples because it just shows how many varieties of options are out there that it gets overwhelming?
Yes, the variety is overwhelming for sure. I think Pinterest, if taken with a grain of salt, can be a really great idea to figure out maybe some designs that you haven't necessarily considered without looking at them. I think it's a really cool place to put color palettes together to find new trends. I always tell my couples proceed with caution. There are two reasons for that. The first thing is AI is so it's everywhere now and it is very prevalent on Pinterest. And if you find an AI wedding and you love it, we probably won't be able to replicate it without it costing a fortune. And sometimes the designs just don't exist. So that's definitely important to think about. The other thing is a lot of the weddings that are featured on Pinterest are high-end luxury weddings, and most of us don't necessarily have that type of budget to put together the florals and the installations that those weddings would take. So Pinterest is great if you take it with a grain of salt, as I mentioned, but I wouldn't hinge your entire wedding design on Pinterest boards.
Good. It's wise. So listen. She's giving you some good feedback tonight. Okay. No offense. Every once in a while, we have couples who are like, I saw this, I saw that, and some of it's good ideas. Along with that, then, because Pinterest, social media, all the different things online. Are there any major new trends that you see that you're like really into, or you're kind of like, I don't know how I feel about that one? Anyone's pop out? For all the Swifties out there, if there's anything going on with that, or just what any kind of trends that are just like, this is new and unique and I love it or I don't love it.
Yes. Okay. So I mostly look at trends that are design based, not so much trends that are social media based, or like, reels or video based. So my design trends that I'm obsessed with right now, like absolutely obsessed, are patterns on linens or plates, not necessarily together. Um, but yeah, I think that adding a little dimension to the design is a really inexpensive way to make it look high end. And I'm just all about them right now.
I love that. I was just telling Lauren, there's one trend that I'm not a huge fan of, and if any of you leave this meeting and decide to do it, I promise I'll share my positives and negatives, but it's your wedding day. I'll support you, I promise. I saw recently where the officiant is standing more like at the first row where the parents are, looking the same direction as the audience, and the couples on like up on stage basically looking back at everybody. I think the purpose behind it is the idea that you get to see a full frontal of the couple, their faces and reactions. I'm not a huge fan of it. I'm just gonna be honest with you. And I told Lauren one of the reasons why is because I feel like if you just want the moment between the officiant, you could do an elopement. You don't have to have all the family and friends there. The purpose of having all those people there is so that they can be a part of the day and engage with the ceremony and the reception. And so having the officiant stand there, it really doesn't engage anyone behind them. It's all focused on your reaction as the couple. Whereas the classic way of the officiant facing out to the audience, for me and Val, it gives us an opportunity to not only speak directly to the two of you, but also to engage your entire audience where they feel welcomed in and a part of the story. So I saw it. I don't think it's a huge trend yet, but there's a few people doing it, and I've been like, oh, I don't like it. I'm just gonna be honest. That's my vulnerable thing tonight. Take it or leave it. I'm not a huge fan, but it is what it is. I would love to know how do couples keep things fun and lighthearted? There's so many to-dos. We've talked about so much information tonight. Any advice from your own marriage and wedding experience, Lauren, or things that you encourage couples? What are some things to keep in mind or ways to just keep it lighthearted and try not to be overwhelmed by all this? Because it's supposed to be a good experience. It's supposed to be a memorable time. I always am sad on the wedding day when couples leading up to it, they're like, I'm just can't wait till this is over. It's been so stressful. I'm like, that sucks, man. Like that's not what this is supposed to be like. So how can we help encourage couples to take a step back and not get to that point?
Yes, that devastates me too. It's like the saddest thing when someone tells me that they just want their wedding to be over because part of wedding planning is enjoying the journey. So I want that for you. There are a couple things. So follow checklists, set goals, and do things early. If you're able to get things done within, the first 16 weeks of planning your wedding, then you're done. And all you have to do is start the logistics a little bit before the wedding, and it gives you so much relief. You don't really have to think about it after that point. Now, that's not always going to work with some couples. Sometimes there are more logistic driven weddings, and that's okay. So, if that's you and your wedding has a lot of moving parts, then what I recommend is celebrate milestones and take breaks. So you book your venue, go have a dinner date, go to your favorite restaurant with your fiance and just enjoy each other. The other thing is maybe have a wedding free weekend or even wedding free weeks. It's just really important to take a step back and remember that this wedding is such an exciting milestone, but it is just part of your life. You have the rest of your life too, and you shouldn't get too bogged down in those details. The last thing is I mentioned to some of my couples to just break up planning. What I like to do as a planner is I give my couples like a few tasks at a time, and it makes it feel a lot less stressful because you have two, three things to do. You get that done. We check them off the list. And then maybe next week you have four things to do. So it's not as overwhelming when you just have a few things on your plate.
I love that. It's the first time that this has ever happened. And again, it's not one size fits all for everybody, but there's a couple I just married this past weekend, and I got to do like some marriage coaching through their whole journey together. And they had their bachelor and bachelorette parties, but then 2 weeks before the wedding, they scheduled a camping trip for the two of them. They went to the Sequoias, and it's a normal thing. They love outdoors and camping, and they were like, we're saving this for last. In the midst of all the rush and the busyness, we're getting everything done in advance, and we're really looking forward to these 4 days together where we get away from all the busyness. And they said this line, and I'm like, that's so good. They said, in the busyness of all of it, we wanted to remind ourselves what the main point is. And the main point is these unforgettable moments where it's the two of us creating this beautiful future together. I was like You guys, like, heck yeah, man. Now I feel like I should have done that with Val. Like, we got to spend more times doing that. But what a great reminder that it doesn't have to be a trip to the Sequoias. I don't think they spent very much money other than gas. They literally took their camping stuff. But it doesn't have to be something that costs you money. It could be taking a day where you're like, I'm canceling all the plans, and just the two of us are going to go, and we're going to focus on us, not the day or the planning, just the two of us, and have a romantic time together. I think that that's so important. The stuff you said, Lauren, is so good. And just to be creative and be yourselves. You know, your unique love story, your personalities, your relationship have all these different, beautiful elements to it. And there's things that you both connect on. So what's a way for you both to kind of recharge and remember to take care of yourself? Because it very easily can feel like life doesn't slow down, everything's already busy enough, and now you're adding this big project of all the planning and prep for a wedding on top of your already busy life. That can feel overwhelming unless you intentionally say, I want to take time to recharge. I think is so important. I want to see, I skipped over Aaron. I saw your question. I love it. I want to ask, and maybe again, we can send this offline to you. Any recommendations for decoration places? Can you, Aaron, can you, just in the chat, can you elaborate? Is it specifically for like big picture decor for the whole room? Are you looking for table setting type stuff? Anything specific? And then that way, Lauren and I can send you some options. Um, okay, so overall decoration. Yeah, I know your venue, so I'll talk with Lauren offline and then send you some resources because we can say, specific venue, here's what it is. Okay, so open blank space, Coachella area. So thinking in mind, like who's in that area that can help. And even Brianna, you're a wedding pro in that area, you could help with it too. So we'll make sure we reach out with that. I think it's really important. All these cool networks of different services and options help each other out, and that will relieve stress in itself. Um, Anything before we open it up for some more question and answer? Um, Lauren, anything else that is on your heart that you're like, if I could leave just one or two final thoughts to couples to encourage them tonight, here's what I would say.
My biggest thing is just really think big picture. Like, what is this wedding and this marriage to you and your partner? And just keep that as a reminder as you go through wedding planning. It's going to be stressful. There's nothing that we can do to keep it from being stressful. We really try to focus on having it be stressless. So I think if you can sort of big picture it and think, let's get back to the basics. Let's think about our specific values. And even if something goes wrong, like a vendor pulls out last minute or the cake is the wrong flavor, those are so small in the big picture of your life with your partner and your new family. So I just think about those things as you're going through the process.
That's so good. I love it. And I would say that's right on. Big picture and just communicate with each other. Remember we talked about if you haven't done yet, I would highly recommend for your stress level and for clarity, like Lauren said, just simply write out your values. Like, and I'm not talking, I really I've been told from like 10 people in my family the cake needs to be good because cakes suck. So we need to spend an exorbitant amount of money on wedding cakes. Like if that's not going to bring joy to you personally, this day is supposed to be a reflection of you. So the way I look at it is the words that are spoken over you in the ceremony should feel like they represent who you are. The taste, the smells, the sounds, the design, all of it is a picture into your love story that everybody else gets to experience. So if your love story doesn't value the taste of sugary cake, if you're like, I'm not a huge carbs guy, then you know what? That's not who you are. Personalize. Use that to be an opportunity to personalize even how you do desserts, or whatever category it might be. But if you haven't taken time to really think through what are the values, what are the most important things to us that we want to take away from this day, if you haven't done that yet, highly recommend grab a cup of coffee at Starbucks with your partner or a glass of wine, sit down, have a romantic time with each other and say, nothing's off the table. Like, what are our values? What do we really care about? And let's get back on track and focus together. Um, I love this so much. Now, so I wanted to say before we end, because we're coming up on time and this has been so good. Lauren, you have your great book, and then there is a free gift that we want to offer our couples that are here tonight. Would you tell us about that?
Yes. Okay. So over the last year and a half, I have put together the most detailed timeline of how you can separate and manage your wedding planning process. So tonight, thank you for being here. You are all going to get a complimentary 12-month checklist. Yay! I hope you like it. I hope you find it helpful.
And this is straight out of your book, right? This is stuff
Yes.
that's like a sneak peek into this that's just theirs to enjoy and to help give some less stress and structure.
Yes, I hope it will just help make your life a little bit easier, and it's so good. It took me a long time to really perfect it, and I think you're gonna love it.
Oh, I love, yes, yes. We've already looked through it. We're enjoying it. Even Val and I ourselves, it's inspiring us too. Um, one more thing too before we head out, I saw in here. So I think you saw it, Aaron. The Brianna was putting down the Bright Rentals and Planks and Patina. Did you see that? I just want to make sure you saw that. Okay, cool. And then if you need more resources, let us know. But what a cool way to connect tonight. Everybody's sharing these ideas and things with each other. I love it. Um, it's so good. I'm going to open the floor for question and answer in just a second. If you don't have anything else, if you're like, my plate is full, that was so good, I'm stuffed with the great conversation and information, then you can head out in a second. Please be free to go. If you want to stay and pick our brains with more questions, we're both here. We'll stay here as long as you need. And then just keep in mind those announcements that I said before. Some of you have been asking. Let me know if you're interested in the dance. October 25th in Costa Mesa, California. It's an hour long, 6:15 arrival. We start at 6:30 to 7:30. It is first dance lesson for $40 per couple. Nice date night, affordable, but you're also going to get a simple steps, 6 to 7 simple moves that will take your vanilla first dance of just swaying to something that will be extraordinary. And it's not a ton of work. Anybody can do it. I'm not a great dancer, and I've learned so much from them. So Bella Ballrooms in Costa Mesa, you will leave that night with 6 to 7 dance steps to spice up your first dance. And that's going to be something that your family and friends are going to love. They're going to go crazy. Great, great opportunity to really entertain and have some fun. But of course, it's a great date night. So come in your costumes to that. Okay. That's a costume party, first dance lesson. If you want information, let me know and we'll get you signed up right away before it fills up. And then we're going to send everybody that is at this meeting tonight. I've got your information. We are going to send you the free gift, of course, so that the checklist will be yours. And then, of course, we're going to post this video on our website and to our YouTube page. So you'll have access to go back in and kind of, what did they say? I want to refresh my memory. We'll make sure that you have access to this also. And be free to share it with people that you know that weren't able to be with us. It's up for them to enjoy and see as well. So we just want to, Lauren and I, and on behalf of Val as well, we just want to support you guys and take away as much stress as possible. Yes, Bella Ballroom, that's the name of it. What's funny is a lot of times we do this dance lesson and some couples have already booked them for a lesson. So you're going to get an additional lesson. But the cool opportunity, again, we've seen over and over, when you show up and you see the space and you're like, all these couples are engaged couples just like me. There's something very special and unique about it that you don't get in a one-on-one dance lesson. So if you're already signed up for Bella Ballroom, I highly recommend join us. If you're not signed up with them, you might have that one dance lesson that night and be like, this was so good. I'm going to sign up 2 more times with them and be prepared. So there's some great opportunities, but hit us up if you're interested. We'll make sure we sign you up right away. Okay. And I see a bunch of you reaching out saying it. So I will reach out to you with that information and get you signed up and get your spot reserved. Let's see. Oh, Lauren was saying in here, I want to make sure I hit up the chat. I'm going back through. Dreamco, her company has decorations as well. So she could be a great resource. Put that down on your list, Aaron and others. Dreamco, reach out to her because she might be a great fit. You connected tonight and can see the kind of person and leader she is. You can take from them their design, and you can tell already by the aesthetics in Lauren's scene. She has a great eye for detail. So enjoy that. You guys, we're done. I love it. This has been such a good time. Both Lauren and I are here if you want to ask any questions. We're just going to sit here and wait for you. Otherwise, if you're ready to go, you can head out. But much love. Enjoy the journey. And on behalf of Dreamco and Weddings Royale, this is supposed to be a time you enjoy. Use it to get closer to your partner and have less stress. And we're here to support you.